Hello, this is Arturelia Film Room Reviews. I'm Arturo, and today with me again, Sin's Corner. And I think this is just going to be a thing. Sin's Corner is just going to be with us throughout most of the Star 1 through
forever.
Yeah, 1 through 6. Yes, Star Wars Episode 3. So I actually remember going to see this at my job. My future. Well, back then it wasn't my job.
You went to go see it at the theater.
At the theater that I ended up
working
working at. Yeah, which is convenient.
Crazy. Like the very first movie that you went to go
Shrek
see
2.
in a theater, Shrek 2, was at the theater that you work at.
Yeah, funny enough. Ain't that a coincidence?
That is a coincidence.
But yeah, so Episode 3 was, I guess, the first Star Wars film I ever saw in movie theaters, which was basically following the prequels up into the original trilogy. Episode 3 was the final prequel trilogy to wrap up.
The final prequel movie.
Yeah, to wrap up what happened prior to, or before the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. And does it deliver in how Anakin became Darth Vader? Well, that's why you're here. Today we're going to be reviewing Episode 3. Let's go. So there's a battle going on above Coruscant. Apparently the Separatists attacked the planet and captured the Chancellor. And so Anakin and Obi-Wan have to go rescue him while the clone army, helps make an opening for them to, yeah, sorry, our dog's barking. The Force is strong with her. She knows her mom's down here.
She does not like it when I go away.
So they go to rescue the Chancellor, who is being held by Count Dooku and General Grievous. And some stuff happens that kind of leads to Anakin going in a direction that's not the light. It's kind of, well, first he's a little bit in the middle at what he
has issues as displayed.
Like you can see he has improved from the last time. Yeah, like you can see when they face off Count Dooku, unlike what happened in Episode 2. If you haven't seen it, well, I don't want to say. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. But so their mission is a success. They actually encounter General Grievous and he escapes, and they land back to Coruscant. Losing. Didn't Obi-Wan say something pretty funny? They lost half of the ship they were crashing into.
Yeah, right. They did.
What did he say? So I thought one of them said something funny.
I can't remember.
But yeah. So it was a success. They rescued the Chancellor, and everything's good, right? The war, I guess, is tilting in their favor. Then Anakin finds out that his wife is pregnant, which is Luke and Leia. I mean. But this is when a lot of political stuff starts to get involved with the Jedi, which the Jedi aren't really supposed to be involved in a political war.
I mean, that was kind of obvious in Episode 2 with the politics entering in.
This is a bad problem for them because there's one person manipulating. And he's actually a Sith, a politician that's a Sith. Because I don't think most of the Siths were politicians except for him.
I mean, it's perfect that a Sith, one of the big bad guys, would be a politician. Of all things. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so this is when things for Anakin starts to go downhill. He's rejected from the Round Table for the Jedi?
He wanted to become a Jedi Master and they turned him down.
Yeah. Anakin's having conflictions, which is like my OCD 24/7 with conflictions. But
is that even a word?
Well, I'm going to say conflictions.
I like that word. It's a good word. I just don't think it's a real word.
But he starts to have dreams about his wife dying
in childbirth.
Which this is another stepping stone that will lead him to Darth Vader.
Well, because he was warned against developing attachments. It's an attachment to other people that can lead him to the dark side.
Well, didn't Padme kind of finally change her mind to have an even though he thought maybe Bar went out the best, but he still loved her.
Right, but he didn't want to deny his feelings.
You would think Padme would be able to convince him to be on the light, but I guess it wasn't enough to save him. Because he wanted to save his wife.
Right.
But yeah, so you find out the particular Sith that is manipulating everything. Now, spoiler alert. Now, most people would know by the actor. But if you don't want to know, then skip the number.
People, yeah.
It's the Chancellor. He's the
Chancellor
Sith. He's Palpatine.
Palpatine, yeah.
He manipulates Anakin to do bad things in the very end. So I don't want to go into much plot. Let's just say the plot is probably the darkest that it gets near that midpoint. Mm-hmm. So I would say a very dark Star Wars. I think I was too young to go see it.
Yes.
I was but then again, Ryder was 10.
I know, but yeah,
I had issues. I had issues of concern of throwing up and stuff.
Well, because it made you feel sick to your stomach when you saw the stuff that was happening.
Yeah. I remember wearing my Darth Vader helmet.
I know, and right before it went off, didn't you push the button or I pushed the button?
Yeah.
So you could hear it in the theater.
Yeah. And people reacted to
people laughed at that.
Remember when it started, there was some guy in the back who was like, woohoo!
Yeah.
Those were, well, I don't know if he would consider good times. Those were bad times, but that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump into the music's really good. Obviously, it's John Williams. He makes some of the best scores.
I love that final battle scene between Anakin and
John Williams and Hans Zimmer are like one of the best composers in film history. Period. Yeah, so the music's outstanding. I really like the music. I mean, almost all of his music are really great in almost every single movie that he's worked, like with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. He does a good...
Feels right. It fits. It fits.
Visually, I mean, it has improved from Episode 2, but obviously you're going to see some...
Yeah.
You know,
certainly they could have done a better job digitally today than they did 15 years ago.
But that was the best. That was the best that you were going to get. Yeah.
Yeah, it was decent for the time, for sure.
I thought it was like when I sat there in movie theaters when I was watching it at that moment. I thought it was really well detailed.
Yeah.
And visually stunning. Editing was, fine. Battle scenes with some of the clones. There were some points where they were shooting and you don't hear any sound effects.
No,
I feel like there's some editing issues there, but maybe it's just quick fade. It's not really the focus. It's the focus of what's going on in a particular thing. Yeah, it's aged, but it's not horrible. I know some of the motions with the guy that played the clones. You can tell the motion of the green screen I guess he was wearing all over his body for the armor. You can tell the motions a little bit.
Well, a lot of those guys were digital.
Yeah, but I mean, like when it was just his face.
Oh, just his face. I didn't notice that stuff.
I noticed a little bit that there was a little bit of some... I mean, it's not the worst.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, if it was maybe, in Episode 2, maybe. But I feel like this was not bad. I did like to see the aspect of the live-action clones without their helmets. It was like the one where they were on the ship. And it just gave me a flashback of the Clone Wars cartoon. No. Because I actually forgot about that whole scene, and it just made me think about that. Like, you get to see him, like, without his helmet, with all the clones, and you can even tell the different hairstyles, too. So that was, what I like about the cartoon is that it has a nod to that, which is cool.
Right.
So as for our enjoyment, I would say this is one of the best prequel films.
It is the best prequel film. I mean, it did get rated higher in general. It didn't get rated astronomically high. But it does have higher ratings than Episode 1 and 2.
Like, if you like dark films, especially, this is one of them. But it's kind of like the Joker. You get to see the rise of Joker. It's the same with this.
It's like an origin film. Yeah. It's like a Darth Vader origin story is what.
Which you feel. I mean, you feel bad for him, but then he goes down a path that's inescapable.
That we can't follow.
And we can't. I mean, your brother literally couldn't forgive him for that one scene.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was pretty terrible what he did. But the problem is, it's like you've seen him.
You would think he would have second thoughts about what he did,
especially about that.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
well,
blah 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 blah. I mean, he's gonna have blah 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 blah.
By then, he was so twisted. But the thing is, the decline happened really fast. It's like, if I had any complaint, it would be...
the decline.
So, like, he becomes, symbolically Darth Vader. This is before he actually physically becomes Darth Vader. He symbolically becomes Darth Vader. And then it's like, right away, he's ready to do some really bad stuff. Like, some really bad stuff.
I mean, the cartoons, I think...
The scene we're talking about.
Yeah, the cartoon, I think... shows that span of him kind of slowly getting up there. I think.
No, I mean from the time that the thing happened, when he became Darth Vader, till when he went into the temple and did what he did. It was very quick. It was all happening in the span of just a few hours, I think. And so it was like, whoa. I mean, he that was just a very because to me, I would think that would be something like he showed regret after he did what he did that turned him into Darth Vader. He showed regret, but then it was like he turned around and he went and did that really terrible, awful thing that he did.
Unless it was, before that, maybe there was a span of time that...
I don't know.
I mean, like I said, the cartoon kind of fixed a bit of, like, what went on during the war and what was kind of changing him a little bit. He was kind of doing some things.
Really? I never saw the cartoon, so...
Well, no, I'm not talking about the animated one. I mean,
I know,
the 3D one. The 3D one.
Oh, that's okay. You're talking about the one we used to watch.
Well, that had it is a cartoon. It's just a 3D animation.
It's an animated show. I mean,
the cartoon did show Anakin do maybe like one thing. He killed one scientist in the cartoon. That kind of showed a bit of his twisted side. Yeah. That was one.
You knew he had it in him already with what happened in episode 2. Yeah. But it's just that seems like a line that he crossed that was just like, whoa, But this was certainly the darker of all the Star Wars movies, and it was some stuff that happened at the end that was unsettling because we'd never seen anything that horrible in a Star Wars movie, and that's what bothered you so bad because it was pretty. So
maybe that was one issue, that it kind of sped up a little too quickly on how he just snapped. Yeah. I mean, then again, maybe it was the dark side kind of influencing him to do it.
It could be. His eyes changed color. When he would go all Sith mode, his eyes changed color.
So maybe that's... I guess you could look at it that way. He plays for 3 years. Up to that point, he was probably still going through stuff. He did a lot of good, but he may have done some bad behind the scenes. Like I said, the animated series covers some of that. Right. In desperation, when Ahsoka was in danger, he went full-on choke mode with that Geonosian general.
Because he was too attached to Ahsoka. Yeah, it's all about his attachments.
Yeah. So maybe he, Padme...
And of course, when you're talking about a wife and your unborn children, that's when it invokes some very intense feelings of attachment, and he was afraid to lose them. It's interesting that some of the things that he tried to avoid through his actions, it ended up causing these, certain things to happen. It was like, dude, if you'd have just chilled from the beginning,
step aside,
maybe none of this would happen.
Overall, maybe, like we said, maybe that's just the slight issue that I had with it. Overall, I did enjoy it a lot. It was very dark, and actually, to be honest, after watching this, like, for a decade, after a decade before coming back to it, some of that kind of faded away, and then when we watched it with our cousins,
your cousins,
it's like, I can't believe this. I never felt this depressed.
It's
to see everything.
Another gripe I have with the movie, they did not do a good job on presenting pregnant Padme.
Oh yeah.
By the end of the film, she's pretty well full term because, when the babies are born, those babies are actually a few months old. By the time they show them in the movie, they're not newborns. I can get past that part. The problem is her belly was really tiny to be holding two full-grown twins. Yeah. So it was like that didn't work. They should have done a better job with that.
Yeah, so I would say if you guys watch this movie, you're going to feel depressed at the end of it because that's how depressing it is.
I remember George Lucas. I remember when this movie was coming out, and I read an article about it. And I think in the article, maybe it was the headline of the article too, and it was also on Drudge Report, I think, where George Lucas described this as a Romeo and Juliet type of story. It was like a tragic love story. And that's exactly what it was. Because it ended in tragedy.
Except it's better than Romeo and Juliet.
Well, it's better than Romeo. I hate Shakespeare anyway, so...
Yeah, I was too young to see it, but after watching it now as an adult, I actually respect it a lot. Yeah. I think it was the best out of the two. Not to say that episode 2 was bad. It was a lead up.
Yeah, I like
But
it.
this was obviously a piece of cake.
Yeah.
With a few issues here and there. I still hate the part where the clones turned.
Yeah, that's sad. That's a sad scene. I remember that always made me really
I mean, they were helping, and then
then just like
okay,
that,
time
Order
to kill.
66.
Terminate.
Yeah.
Exterminate.
Exterminate. Yep, that's
Or
right.
Terminate. Terminator. They were the
They were
Terminators.
Terminators.
Programmed to kill the
Yeah, they
Jedi.
were. I mean, yeah, they were.
Yeah, so Revenge of the Sith. I still think it's one of the best out of the prequels, and then it just leads on to, yeah, the original trilogy. Music was very impactful, especially at the end. Everything was really good. Would you say the acting was pretty good? Besides, I mean, Christian
Hayden.
Yeah, Hayden Christian.
I mean, he had his weak moments in here because in here in the character of Anakin, this is not his the best representation of his acting skills. So he had weak moments in here, and some of that was just dialogue. You know, George Lucas's really lame dialogue. But he did some parts that of what he did were really good, like that really bad scene we were talking about, like the scene of what happens to him. I thought his acting was excellent in that particular scene. Then there's other scenes.
You dared underestimate my power.
No, that part was kind of lame. The way he said, "You shouldn't underestimate my power." I was like, okay, that wasn't the best delivery. I'm talking about the end of all that.
Oh yeah, I hate you.
Yes, right. And then there were other scenes where it was like, okay, that sounds very wooden. It's just doesn't. But
maybe he's confident in himself.
No, I don't know. That is a weak point in the movie is the acting. Even though I still feel like he was a good choice for Anakin.
I just see him as Anakin.
Yeah, that is what I think.
I mean, in all honesty, I enjoyed it a lot. Yes, there's some flaws here and there, but I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's great.
No, I like that.
I would give it like an 8.
Oh, really? You'd go that high?
What would you go?
I was going to say 7.5.
7.5?
We were talking about this the last
I was thinking, for some reason I was thinking more of an 8.
8? Maybe because of the emotional impact.
Yeah, like I think it was better than the last two.
Oh yeah, it was. I think I gave, 6 or 6.5?
And also, this is how Vader became Vader.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the same with the Joker.
Story. I mean, right, well, the Joker, yeah.
So to me, it would be an 8. You, it would be like a 7.5.
I was 7.5. I don't think I'd go as high as an 8 right now. Maybe in a few years, but I don't know. I've always felt like it was kind of like a 7.5 to me, which means I liked it. I thought it was decent.
I feel like what happened in this film, sad, impactful, depressing.
Yeah.
And then, him being Vader, I mean, that's a lot of good elements there. I mean, there's some issues. Like, it's not going to get a 9.
Maybe I'll go with a 7.75. That's in between the 7.5.
But I only go 7.5
well,
or
that's
8.
you. That's you.
Well, now I'm having second thoughts.
No, don't have second thoughts. If that's what you feel, that's what you feel. I mean, that's how you feel about it.
I feel like it was balanced with some of the, the action scenes. It got political, then it had action.
It felt a bit slower paced in some respects because there was a lot of political stuff happening.
Yeah, I think episode 2 was probably slower.
You felt like that was slower paced? There was
this
a
was
lot
more
of politics
like a mixed,
in the trilogy. More politics in episode 2 and 3 than in 1. But still,
well, there was some in 1. There was some.
Yeah, I know.
1.
I said more in 2 and 3 than in 1, but this was definitely the entire trilogy in itself was loaded with politics. Just, I guess, explaining the backstory of the war and all this, and showing the machinations of, the Sith Lord, and all his manipulations and everything. And then 4, 5, and 6, it's like all that backstory doesn't matter. They're just dealing with trying to topple the Empire.
Yeah,
so
by that
really
point
so
it's been established because who can really fight
this
with?
Shows the lead
who
up
can
to how
fight? Who can fight with Palpatine? He's like the Hitler of
Star Wars.
Yeah, he's the Hitler of Star Wars. There's nobody that can mess with him.
And this shows how he was able to establish his authority so completely. over the entire galaxy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure George Lucas took inspiration from every dictator
well,
that did
he
that.
did. I mean, he said specifically that he did as far as Hitler went.
Killed off his enemies.
Yeah.
In a quiet manner, made it look like they were traitors, I guess. So, well, I don't know. They made it as if this was Empire's propaganda of the Jedi being traitors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the symbolism there. That's what I like about Star Wars. As for our recommendations, obviously what comes next is the original trilogy, which wraps up everything.
Oh, but
then there's Rogue One.
Rogue One comes after. We need to rewatch.
Which Rogue One, there's a lot of references, or there is one reference to both. No. 2 references from the Clone Wars animated series and the episode 3.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Cool.
We would have to watch all of that, yeah.
Yeah, but this is Arturelia Film Room Review signing off for today. You could follow my mom at Sin's Corner. She either laughs, cries, holds rats on her shoulders like a parrot.
Well, they get up on there.
She talks. Her videos are very long. So long.
Sometimes.
Even though mine are long too, but mine are probably better.
Yours are probably... No, they probably are as far as the way you put them together. Yes.
I'm perfect. Alright, let's push those separatists back, boys! What are you guys doing?
I'm sorry, sir. We are no longer required to follow your orders.
Guys, why are you turning code on me? What is this? Why? I like you guys, and then you guys are so bad. How dare you turn code on me? I gotta tell you, you guys were so badass, but then you turned bad all of a sudden! How dare you guys! Why? Why? Turo, you fall in love with this group, and then you didn't tell me that they turned bad? Where are you, Arturo? Where are you? I'm getting out of this place. I'm gonna find you. If you're watching this, Arturo, I'm gonna find you. You'll make me feel this way.